I have made a severe and terrible lapse in judgment. I make fun of several characters that I deem to be underpowered, and in Cold Steel 4, the game decided to zip tie all of them in one party and give them all to me as a joke. And unfortunately, that route was an absolute slog. It was not fun. Fortunately, they had to fight George, which is somehow equally useless, so the boss wasn't that bad. However, to repent for my sins and to make sure karma does not bite me in the butt anymore from this point onwards, I would like to make this apology video formally apologizing to fictional pixels that I have insulted in the past in order to shake off the demons that think it's fun to play with an all boys team and give me some of the worst boys that the balance system was not fair towards. I have four characters in mind. I have a list here. We'll start with Elliot. I'm sorry for calling you Budget Emma. I'm sorry for saying that Holy Song is completely garbage in Cold Steel 3. I'm sorry for insulting your music at one point. You are, in fact, a very good violinist, although I suspect that's somebody at Falcom JDK doing most of the heavy lifting. I would like to thank you for carrying me during the Cornelius Cryptid fight, which was done at an exceptionally early time and would not have been possible without you. And I am fully conscious of the fact that if you actually mod this game to be actually Nightmare, then you are in fact the better version of Emma, and I am foolish to claim otherwise. But I do apologize for saying that you are in fact Budget Emma and at some points Budget Elisa. I was joking at that one point where I said detection was your best craft. It is clearly not. It is in fact Holy Song, just to set the record straight. Although, to be fair, your character portrait really should not have celebrated when you learn Nocturne Bell, because that is not worth celebrating over. Next up, I would like to formally apologize to Machias. I'm sorry for saying that you are the worst Class 7 character for Cold Steel 1 and 2, although to be fair, your speed is so incredibly bad that the first time I used AT Accelerate, I didn't get to see you for the entire rest of the fight, and that was a boss. I'm sorry for saying that you are a literal turtle, and I am sorry for saying that Usis is the more useful member, and I'm sorry for saying that at one point you learned some of the most useful utility crafts in the entire game, but it is on Machias, and therefore those crafts no longer exist. I would like to formally acknowledge that you were buffed just as hard as the GME stocks were during Cold Steel 3. You are in fact a very good moneymaker, and you actually saved me, and you made me willingly deploy you into the Black Workshop, and that is worth something, because that is still a sentence that I cannot believe that I am willingly saying. I once again apologize for saying that you are oriented towards the most useless stat in Cold Steel 1, except it is entirely true. However, I will still apologize because that seemed insulting to you as a character. I will say that I do enjoy your character arc, however, every time I use it in battle, it is like stepping over a field of Legos. With that, I will say I'm sorry. I will still never use it for Cold Steel 4 because despite buffs, power creep is not a fun thing. Sigma operation is still a joke. You might want to improve on that. Once again, thank you for carrying me through George and the Black Workshop as somehow the most useful member of the bunch. Next, I would like to formally apologize to Kurt Vander. I'm sorry for making fun of the length of your arm. Although, for what it's worth, of the four people I am apologizing, you are easily the single best one. If I were to make a tier list, I will put you in A tier. However, I will spitefully not put you in S because 90% of the time you refuse to counterattack. Because I suspect once again your arm length, which I've just apologized about, which means I am now clear to make fun of you on it once again. I'm sorry for calling you the proper inheritor of the Vander name because Mueller Vander was somehow even more useless than you in Sky the Third on Nightmare. He consistently hit people for 0 damage and is good for literally nothing. And I am sorry I compared you to him. You are, in fact, the better brother of the two. And I will formally acknowledge that, yes, you are built for 100% evasion. And yes, you can do that role. But no, you can't counterattack, so serious scores is wasted on you. But on that note, I will apologize for saying that you do not deserve the serious course and gave you Tempest instead because you never counter anyway. Although, you really might want to work on getting an arm extension because your range is an actual joke. I will say thank you for carrying me through Cold Steel 3. And thank you for carrying me through George, because the game fat shames George and makes sure he cannot be knocked back, which means that you are perpetually in range, which is something that I'm sure must be refreshing for you, to have an enemy not be knocked back for half an inch and therefore make you no longer able to counter them. Finally, I would like to apologize to Ash Carbide. I am sorry I called you a budget Laura, and I am sorry for still calling you a budget Laura even after I record this video. I'm sorry for making fun of your speed, and I'm sorry for making fun of Voidbreaker, which despite having a double S rank still has a worse break damage than Laura does with Lion Rush or Yuna does with Crossbreak. I'm sorry for saying that you're completely useless, and I'm sorry for saying that you are the worst member of New Class 7, although let the record show, Ash is the most bench member of my entire roster, except that one time when I bench Reen as a joke, and then immediately swap back after 20 minutes, realizing that Ash takes twice as long to kill stuff. Thank you for using Reaper's Whirlwind to one-shot that one Domina in Luna Shrine. That was very funny. I high rolled and got it first try. I don't suspect that will happen again. And I'm sorry for making an offhanded remark at the time that you are only good when RNGesus allows you to. That being said, that concludes my apology video, and please never zip tie these 4 characters into a team again. The only reason I use these 4 is because they're all more worthy of a spot than Sarah, who has nothing of note despite being an actually solid character. And that will be all.